Hey guys, it's me, and today we're in a different spot right now, in a completely different angle, and it's a bit weird. But today we are going to be doing my makeup collection and declutter video for winter of 2024. I did one over the summer this year, and we're back again doing one for the winter because I just accumulate a lot of stuff these days and just need to tone things down a bit and whatnot. And so we're going to be doing a fair amount of decluttering today, I think, particularly when it comes to complexion, cheek, that type of stuff. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, why are we set up like this? Where are we right now? So we are actually presently at the bar in my apartment. This little bar here is actually one that I believe my best friend, who is my roommate, I believe his dad made this for him. I could be wrong. It's a nice little bar and everything. It looks legit and everything. It's actually really nice. I'm filming out here because I have ample space to not only work with being able to show you guys all the products, but I also have space to have my camera set up behind the bar, and for me to be able to sit on this side here and still have plenty of space to film and everything, because I'm having to film like this because of my face. My face is looking hella crazy right now. I ended up getting very sick last week. Came down with an upper respiratory infection, and for whatever reason, this has never happened to me before, but for whatever reason, I got a cold sore outbreak. So my lips look crazy right now. If you want to know how crazy they were looking before I started the antiviral treatment that I'm currently on, this is how my lips were looking. Editing me here, if you want to see how my lips are looking now, about 2 weeks after getting sick and everything. Today is the 22nd. I filmed this on the 15th, the declutter and everything. I filmed that on the 15th. I just have a little bit of scabbing left going on, but it's just about cleared up. So I probably got about maybe almost another week before everything's cleared up. So I'm doing a lot better now. When I filmed this, I was definitely not in the state to be on camera at all. So yeah, there you go. Let's get back to the video. Now with all the housekeeping out of the way, now we can actually go ahead and start actually gearing up to do this declutter and collection video, because we're going to go through my entire makeup collection. I used to do collection videos and declutter videos in categories way back in the day on my previous beauty, fashion, lifestyle channel, but since launching this particular channel, I just like to do them all in one solid video because it's just easier for me. It's just easier for me to do it all in one solid video than doing multiple videos back to back to back to back to back. But I just don't have a collection that is large enough to make that feasible. So doing it in just one big video is good enough for me. I do want to go ahead and give a couple of disclaimers real quick. So first of all, I think I talk about this in every single video that I make here on this channel, but hi, hello, I work in beauty retail and have been doing so for over 3 years now. And there are going to be a lot of products that you will see in this video that I will mention that I received this in gratis. So those are going to be items that I received, well, in gratis. So I didn't pay for those particular items. When you work in the beauty retail space, receiving gratis is quite commonplace in most parts of the beauty retail world. And because of the fact that I am full-time, I actually receive a lot of products in gratis. Now, I'm probably am going to be getting my November gratis next week as when I'm filming this video, but I'm just like, let's just go ahead and do this declutter video now, because if I put it off saying oh, I'm just going to get gratis next week, let me just put off doing the collection declutter till then, well then I'll find a way to be well, I'm also getting gratis next month, let's just put it off till next month. So we're doing it today. And then too, I'm just sick and tired of my collection being the way that it is and everything, and just being very cluttered and whatnot. So I just want to work on this today. I do little bits of decluttering on the side, so there are probably going to be some things that you might have saw in my collection and declutter video that I did over the summer that you might not see in this video. That is going to be because of the fact that I declutter them behind the scenes. Sometimes I'll declutter things, and then when I do those declutters, I do share them over on my Instagram stories. So definitely follow me on Instagram if you ever want to keep up with the things that I possibly might declutter in the future. Oh, also, this particular one, I'm going to set this one up just a little bit differently than I've done these in the past. In the past, when I would do these collection declutters, I would just work based off of like the different trays that I have in my drawers with how I store my makeup. This time around, we're going in categories. So I'm removing the tray system from this because my trays are completely disorganized now at this point. Like before, I used to be like, oh, this is for like foundations and primers and setting products. This one is for blush, and this one is for bronzer. This one's for highlighter. Now it's just like everything is just wherever it can fit. I would like it to be more organized like how it used to be, but because I get so much stuff now, it's just like I just gotta store things the way that they can be stored. And that is just wherever it is they can fit. Let's go ahead and dive on into this. But before we do so, if you guys are new here to my channel, don't forget to hit subscribe. And also while you're down there, definitely give this video a thumbs up because that'll help me out a lot. All my links are down in the description box below, which are the links to my Twitter, Instagram, and my music channel. So definitely check me out in those places if you're interested. And yeah, let's get started. Let me show you guys what my drawers are presently looking like. So my drawers have the same setup as they've had for a very long time. So I have an Alex drawer unit from IKEA. The top drawer, which is the crazy drawer, as always, as per usual these days, is my face drawer. So all my like complexion, blush, bronzers, highlights, primers, setting products, all that good stuff is in that first drawer. In the second drawer, we have my individual eye products and then lip products. And then the final two drawers that I have are dedicated to palettes. Well, mostly palettes. So the third drawer is just strictly palettes. And also in that third drawer, I'll keep like palettes that are still new to me that I need to play around with a bit more. So I'll keep them in that third drawer. But then the fourth drawer is where I keep like palettes that I tend to not reach for very often, or there's just like not a good setup to have them in the third drawer. So I'll pop them into this fourth one. And also in the fourth drawer, I'll keep like different tools in there. So like my tweezers, I've moved my beauty blenders down there, nail clippers, nail files, pencil sharpeners, things like that. Start out with doing priming and setting products when it comes to the complexion products. So we're starting out with the things that would typically be found in my face drawer. I'm starting out with those like prep and set products. Also, I just turned the AC on, so you'll probably be able to hear that since we are kind of sort of in the living room, I guess you could say. It's like an open floor plan for like the living room and kitchen area. So this is what we're starting out with when it comes to prep and set products. So I don't have too many here, but I can definitely like tone this down though, because there are quite a few items here that I don't even use or that I don't ever see myself really using. So we can definitely tone this down a bit. So we'll start out with the powders here because I don't use setting powder very often. And this first one here, I can actually let go of. So this is from One Size. This is the loose powder in Ultra Peach. Don't know how well you guys will be able to read this or not. I honestly don't know what the exposure is looking like right now because it is so hard for me to tell because I'm far from the viewfinder and also it is backlit, so I can't really tell how things are looking right now. I have used this setting powder a couple of times since getting this in gratis some time back, but I just don't really reach for it. It is a nice powder, but I just don't use setting powders though, really, and I just don't need to keep this one because I know that this is just so much product that I do not need to keep this. So I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this guy. Then I recently just got this one here from Tarte. This is the creaseless setting powder, and I got this one in lavender, and I also got this one here in gratis. And this one I am curious about really playing around with. It did come with a little triangular puff here, which I think I might just keep this guy. I might keep the puff. But here is the powder. If you guys can even see it. Well, like I said, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not because of the exposure, but it is a lavender powder. This I am curious about trying because I really like how this powder feels. It's really soft in comparison to the one size. The one size one is a bit thicker, a bit heavier, but this one feels like it's going to be really soft, and then it can be really good for all over the face. I'll probably use like a setting powder on my under eyes if anything, but not so much on the face. I am tempted to keep this guy because I just recently got this one in gratis, so I do want to play around with it a little bit and see if I might want to keep it. But at the same time though, like I mentioned, I just don't use setting powders, so it's just like I don't know if I want to keep this one or if I want to keep this Kosas one here, because I definitely don't need to keep both. This one I also received in gratis. This is the Cloud Set in Candy, and it's just a pressed setting powder. And this one I do like as well. I do like that it's like a really soft powder, and it's like pressed, almost kind of baked in there a bit. I don't need both of these. I don't need both. And honestly, I think between the two, I might be able to get away with using the lavender one just a little bit more than using this Kosas one. I have used the Kosas one. It is nice, but it does feel a bit dry. So I think I'll keep the Tarte one for now and then declutter the Kosas. The Kosas is nice, it's just that it just feels a little too dry. And then I guess I'll go ahead and touch on this setting spray here since we're talking about setting products. This is the Urban Decay All Nighter. This is the hyaluronic acid one. Love this setting spray. Got this one in gratis sometime back. Really have been enjoying it. I like this one a bit more than the original, and I did really enjoy the original. So yeah, really enjoy this guy, so definitely keeping this. I'm including this in the prepping products because this is more so like something that you would use in the early stages of your routine. This is from Ole Henriksen. This is the Banana Bright Vitamin CC stick, and I have the shade Guava, and this guy I got through gratis through a vendor, and I just got this guy and I'm super excited about trying it out. It's just a peach under eye corrector. I love these things. I have been loving these products ever since that they came out. I cannot tell you how many times I've recommended these products to customers since they've launched. They're just so good. They're so good. They're amazing color correctors from the under eye area, and they also have vitamin C in them, so they'll also help to brighten up the skin over time. Love this stuff, and I'm super excited to have it myself because I was very close to purchasing one of these, but then vendor left one for me, and I'm so happy about that. Next up we have this primer here. This is from Milk. This is the Hydro Grip Glow Primer. This guy, I don't know if I need to keep this one or not. I haven't used it at all. I got this in gratis. I do not like the original primer from them at all. It's just way too tacky. This one isn't as tacky. It has like a glow to it. Let me swatch it real quick. I know some of you might be thinking like, no, don't swatch it. You won't be able to give it away to somebody. I give this stuff away to like friends and family, so it's just like, especially like the used stuff, I always let people cycle through them to see if it's something that they might want to keep. I'm starting to run low on this primer here, and the glow that it leaves behind isn't like that significant, so I'll keep it for now. I'll actually try it out and see how I feel about it. And then these two primers I am going to keep. This one here is from Peter Thomas Roth. This one I got in gratis through our little holiday event meeting thing that we had recently. And this is just the Instant Firm No Filter Primer. This guy is probably only going to last me about a couple of uses anyway, so that's why I'm going to hold on to it. I know that PTR isn't cruelty free. I probably should have mentioned that earlier. Hi, hello, I only use and promote cruelty-free products. If you ever see something that isn't cruelty-free being used here on this channel, just know that I did not purchase it. It was something that I received in gratis. So, yeah, but I am going to keep this guy just to use it up because, I mean, it is like a smaller sample, so I'll be able to blast through this guy pretty quickly and easily. So, yeah, I am very curious about trying it because I've heard a lot of good things about it, and I feel like this is like something that might be blowing up online somewhere, maybe, possibly. I don't know. I'm not on TikTok because I am old. Also going to keep this Smashbox Photo Finish Primer in the hydrating formula. Love this stuff. Love this stuff a lot. Once I run out, I will probably repurchase it because I just really love this primer. It is really good. Like, within the past year or so, I've tried out a couple of different primers. This one and the Cali Ray So Blown have been my favorites. So, really enjoyed this guy right here. Then that particular category started out with 8 products. Declutter 2, keeping 6. So, didn't really need to work on this category that much. It's just that it's gonna free up some space because these products are bulky. So here we have my complexion products. So we have concealers, skin tints, and foundations and whatnot. This I can definitely condense down a good bit because I do not need 5 concealers. I do not need 5 concealers, and I don't need all of these guys over here either. So I could definitely downsize this by a good bit. So let's start out with something that I know immediately that I'm going to let go of. This is going to be from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Unreal Skin Sheer Glow Tint Hydrating Foundation Stick. So this is basically the Flawless Filter, but in a stick format, and I do not like it. I got this guy in gratis. I was looking forward to it because it just seemed like such an interesting product, but it just does not work for me. Like, it gives some glow to the skin, but it just doesn't look good on me. And I've tried it in multiple different ways. Like, I've used it all over the face. I have used it in targeted areas. I have mixed it in with products and everything. Like, it's just not for me. It's just not for me. Like, I love a good glowy, dewy look to the skin, but this just is way too shiny. So this guy is going away. I have this guy from Merit, and this is, I don't know what this is. It's their stick foundation doohickey thingy. And also got this guy in gratis recently. I do kind of want to hold on to it because I just got this guy and I am curious about trying it. I've always been curious about trying this guy out, but I also have heard that it's not the best for drier skin types, which I have very dry skin. So I don't know if it's worth keeping, but I do kind of want to try it. I'll keep it for now because I do want to try this out and see if it could possibly work for me. Even though I do have a strong feeling that it won't, I at least want to try it. So for now, I'm going to keep this one. This Hourglass Skin Tint, I am letting go of. Got this in gratis as well. It just did not do anything really for me. It just didn't really look the greatest on my skin. And this is also the lightest shade. It's the lightest shade, and it's just not for me. It's not for me, so I'm gonna let this one go. Next up, I have the NARS Light Reflecting. I got this in gratis, and I haven't gotten around to trying it out yet. I've had it for a while now, and I just haven't gotten around to testing it out. I am very much looking forward to trying it because I've heard so many good things about this particular foundation, and I'm just super excited about trying it out. I wish that NARS was still cruelty-free. Like, them losing their cruelty-free status is still like something that just bothers me so much to no end because their products are just so good. So I'm hoping that in some way that they might pull like a move from like Wet n Wild or Physicians Formula where they sell in mainland China but without having to test their products or anything. That would be super cool. Next up, I have the Fenty foundation. This is the Soft Lit foundation, and this is in the shade 125. Now, I actually originally got a color of this in gratis, but the color that I selected was far too dark for me. So I actually went in and purchased this one after getting color matched by a vendor. And I love this foundation. I love this foundation a lot. It is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I've worn it multiple times and it wears really well. It looks amazing on my skin. Love this foundation. And this is the soft lit, not the pro filter, the soft lit. So this one's gonna have like more of a glow to the skin. Love this foundation. And then we have the Patrick Ta foundation. I got this in gratis. I loved this foundation as well. This is such a beautiful foundation. It's very similar to that of the Fenty in terms of like coverage and finish. This one I feel is just maybe just a little tiniest bit smoother looking on the skin, and it's also a little bit sheerer as well, but it is just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I am 100% keeping this foundation. It is just lovely. It did take a hot minute for me to be able to get it to pump out any product though, I will say that, but other than that, love this foundation so much. This guy, it pains me to say this, but I do need to let this guy go. This is the Bounce Skin Tint from Beauty Blender. I haven't even had this guy for a full year, I don't think. I want to say I bought this earlier this year, but I have to let this guy go. And the reason for it is because it's just starting to look and behave weirdly on me. The last few times that I've worn it, it just did not work correctly on me for whatever reason. I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know if it's just like it's getting old and going bad, or who knows, maybe my skin is changing, or that other things that I really love like the Fenty and the Patrick Ta just are a lot better than this guy. I don't know, but I sadly am having to let this guy go. I did get a fair amount of use out of it. It's about maybe 1/3, maybe close to halfway done, so I did get a fair amount of use out of it. It's just that something's going on with it and it just has to be let go. So for that, I had to say goodbye to this beautiful product, which I think that they might even be discontinuing this as well, because all of Beauty Blender's makeup has been on sale for a long time now. It's been about 2 months now that I think their makeup products have been on sale. So I think that they're doing away with the makeup line from Beauty Blender and just sticking with like the tools. Or who knows, they might be reworking stuff behind the scenes. I don't know. All I know is that this guy, as well as their other makeup products, have been 50% off on Sephora's website, and most of the stuff is already gone. And they've even have taken out the makeup stuff out from stores. But gonna let this guy go. So now let's move on to the concealers. The concealers, I think I could probably do away with maybe 2 of these. I know one of them for a fact I have to let go, and that is this NYX one right here. This is the concealer serum from them, and I have the shade Light. I love this concealer so much, but it is just getting gross in the cap. I've also had it for a while now, and I've gotten a fair amount of use out of it. It has one of those packagings where it like pulls the product up like this, but I don't think that is really pulling too much upwards and everything, because I could see like the gaps in there. And I also am thinking that it might be separating a bit too, because again, I've had this concealer for a while. I've had it for a few years now. I think I got this about maybe 2 years ago, and I have gotten a fair amount of use out of it. I know it may not seem like I have gotten a lot of use out of it, but that's just simply because the tiniest amount of this concealer goes a long way. So yeah, I am gonna go ahead and let this guy go. It does make me a little bit sad to do so, because I do really love this concealer, but it's just something that needs to go. So I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of the way. I got these for concealers and gratis. So just putting that out there. That way we can make things go by a little bit quicker here. I have the House Labs concealer. I had the shade 3, Fair Rosy. I want to play with this again. I think I've only used this maybe once or twice now. So I do want to play with this again just to see how I feel about it. It's okay. okay. It's okay. It's not my favorite. So I want to play with it again just so I can develop some more feelings. I might declutter this in the future off camera, but for right now I am going to keep it for the time being. The Say Concealer, I just got this one. I haven't even played around with it yet. I've heard great things about it and I'm really curious about testing it out, so I'm gonna keep this one for the time being. I probably might declutter this off screen. Who knows? We'll find out. This Tarte Creaseless Concealer. This is the new formula that they put out for this concealer, because this concealer has now two formulas. You have this one here that has this more like white cap to it, and then there's the one that has like the purple cap. I think it's a purple cap. That purple one is so heavy and so drying on me. I tried it before a couple of years ago when it was on sale at Ulta and I hated it. This one is a bit creamier. I have swatched this one in store. It is a bit creamier. It doesn't feel as heavy, yet it still has like similar coverage. I haven't played with this one yet. I did play with the green corrector shade that comes in this formula and it was okay. It was okay. It didn't really blow me away or anything. But I am curious about trying this one out, so I am going to keep this one for the time being. And I guess we're only decluttering one concealer because I really like this Hourglass concealer. So yeah, I am keeping this one. This is in the shade Creme, and I had gotten a shade originally in Gratis about a year ago, but it was far too light, and that one was in shade Birch. This is the next shade up, and this is a really nice color for me. So yeah, gonna keep this guy. Started out with 12 items in this category, decluttered 4, down to 8. I guess that's okay. And some of the things I still just need to like test out, so they might get decluttered further down the road and everything. I'll probably test them out off camera. Hold on, let me go back. Let me swatch this House Labs concealer real quick. I'm gonna swatch it next to this Tarte one. See, I like how the Tarte one feels so much more than this House Labs, because I can tell that the Tarte is a lot more creamy feeling and more hydrating. And I also like the color a bit better because it's not as yellowy as the House Labs. So I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this House Labs one. And then I'll keep this Tarte. So keeping 7, decluttering 5. Okay. We can work with 3 concealers. You know what? I am gonna go ahead and declutter this Milk primer because I just don't really see myself reaching for it and actually using it and enjoying it. So I am gonna go ahead and let this guy go. All right, next category we have is going to be cheek products. So we have blush, bronzers, and highlighters here. This is something that I definitely need to work on because I just have so many cheek products. So this definitely needs to be condensed a bit, and there are some things that I know for a fact that I am going to let go of. So we can go ahead and get started with this. So I guess we'll start out with the bronzers, since apparently I have, well actually no, I don't have too many bronzers. Actually I do have quite a few bronzers now. So we'll go ahead and start with bronzers first, and we'll start out with this guy here. This is from One Size. This is the Made for Shades Bronze and Sculpt Trio, and this is the Fair Trio. I actually really enjoyed this guy. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did, and I got this when it went on sale at Sephora about maybe 2 months ago now. I think it was in September when I got this guy, maybe October, and I actually really like this. The blushes are way too pigmented for me, but this bronzer trio is really good. I really enjoy mixing these 2 shades here together. These 2 work really nicely mixed together, and this one on its own isn't that bad on me either. Next up I have this Makeup Geek bronzer. This is in the shade Sunkissed. I know that Makeup Geek isn't around anymore, and some people might say declutter it because why use something on camera if nobody can get their hands on it? Well, that is because this bronzer is one of the very few bronzers I have come across that I feel is like perfect for me. So yeah, going to forever keep this guy. Similar goes for this Marc Jacobs one, but I will say this, I am going to be decluttering this one today. I'm making it known for myself that I'm decluttering this one today. I am going to be repurchasing this because there is somebody selling this bronzer in the full size on Mercari, and I am wanting to have the full size and just wanting to keep this bronzer in my life because I love it so much. The reason why I'm decluttering it is because it has been deforming hard pan on it a lot. I've scraped it off multiple times and it just keeps coming back. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and let this guy go. I love this bronzer so much. This is fantastic from Marc Jacobs. It was in a little mini here that I got from Sephora years ago when the brand was going out, and I'm hoping that when the brand does come back, whenever that might be, because I know that the beauty brand is going to be returning, I just don't know when. I'm hoping that they'll bring back this bronzer because I love this bronzer so much. And I'm also hoping that they'll continue to stay cruelty free as well. So yeah, love this bronzer, but I sadly have to let this guy go. But like I said, I am going to be repurchasing it because like I said, I saw somebody selling it on Mercari for the full size for a decent price. Next up we have this bronzer here from Say. This is the Dew Bronze and I have the shade Sand. I did get this guy in gratis. Love this stuff so much. A little bit goes nowhere with this stuff. It is very sheer, but it is buildable and I really do enjoy it, so I'm going to keep it. Next bronzer, this is actually a bronzer highlighter duo. This is from Beauty Blender. This is the Bounce Magic Fit Creamy Bronzer and Highlighter Duo. So I have Pearl and Buff. So Pearl is the shade of the highlighter that's up here. I hate the highlighter in here. It does not look good. And then Buff is the bronzer down here. And the bronzer isn't bad, but I've only had this guy but for a little while and the bronzer is already dried out. So yeah, it's also a bit warm for me. It's not bad, it's just a little bit too warm. I got this when I went on sale earlier this year, so I'm not too miffed about it not working out in the long run. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let this guy go. Next I have this guy here. A lot of you were probably eyeing this the moment that the segments are happening. This is from Gucci. This is their powder bronzer. I really love this bronzer. I hate that I love it because Gucci isn't cruelty free, but it's just such a beautiful formula. It just blends really nicely. It is a bit warm for me, but it's just beautiful and I'm gonna keep it and just never talk about it. And the final bronzer that I have, this is from Too Faced. I got this through a vendor recently. This is the Chocolate Soleil Natural Chocolate Cocoa Infused Healthy Glow Bronzer, and this is in Golden Cocoa. And I haven't gotten around to playing with this guy just yet because I just brought this guy home recently. Oh, that actually might be a good color for me. Oh, and it smells so much like chocolate. I didn't even bring this close up to me and I can already smell the chocolate in it. Oh god, I am excited about trying this guy out. Like I mentioned, a vendor left this for me and I'm super excited about trying it out. And yeah, because like he saw that like I was like doing a great job with helping him with like selling products from the brand that day, which I mean, I do really enjoy Too Faced. Their products are really good. I know I went a while with not supporting them and everything because fuck Jared Blandino, but he's no longer with the brand at all whatsoever anymore these days. So I'm comfortable with promoting the brand now and talking about them and using their products and everything now. So I'm very excited about having this guy in my life because I really want to try it out. It seems like it's going to be really nice. He mentioned that this particular formula is a little bit more like sheer and buildable, which is why I was just like, yes, if you're going to leave me the bronzer, leave me this particular formula. Let's touch on the blushes, because I feel like the blushes, there's only really one that I know for a fact that I'm decluttering, and that is this one from Hourglass here. I haven't even used this one. I swatched it a few times in store after I got this in gratis, and I've decided that I'm just not gonna keep it. This is the Unreal Liquid Blush, and I have the shade Moment. It's a good color, and it's a nice little formula. I just don't like the tone per se for me. I thought that I was gonna like it a lot more, which is why I ordered this color, but it's just not my thing. It's just not my thing. So I'm gonna let this one go. Let's go ahead and touch on this NARS blush that I have here. This is Orgasm Edge. I got this guy in gratis. This guy, it is beautiful. It is a beautiful color. I used it in that full face and non-cruelty free makeup video that I did. Trying to angle this so you guys can actually see the color, but it's like getting a bit blown out. Let's see. Can you see it better now? Yes. In the viewfinder, it's just looking like pale and beige looking, like almost like a pale pink, but it's like a peachy color. It's very similar to this Hourglass actually. Just a little bit more like pink to it. And it is a beautiful formula and a nice color. I just don't know how often I'm gonna reach for it. You know what? I'll let this one go. Touch on this KVD one because I really love this blush right here. This is the Everlasting blush in the shade Foxglove. I also want to get a second shade of this because for one, I just love this formula, but two, I swatched a random color in store at an Ulta sometime back and just really love the color. I think the color is called Snapdragon. Really want to get that one as well. This is such a beautiful formula. I'm not really that big into powder blushes because I just feel like they could be a little bit trickier for me to work with. I definitely prefer a cream over a powder, but this formula is just gorgeous. I remember the first color in this that I got was in, I want to say it was the shade Poet. I want to say it was in the shade Poet. I can't remember what it was exactly, but it was a mauve. And that one I received through a vendor, but it just looked bruisey and weird on me whenever I would wear it, so I decluttered it. I love the formula so much that I was like, let me try and see if I can find a color that works for me. So I ordered this Foxglove shade, I think either through Ulta or Sephora. It was one to two. And I just love it. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. 100% keeping it. We'll go ahead and touch on this LYS blush here. So this is the Higher Standard cream blush in the shade Inspire. Now when you see this, you're gonna think, wow, that is dark for you. But these do sheer out really beautifully and it's just a beautiful color. I also like to use this on the lips. It makes such a gorgeous like coral lip color. It is lovely. I love, love, love these cream blushes from LYS so much. I do really want to get the little stick trio that they put out for holiday this year. I do want to get that one and see about getting those because I do want to try out the stick ones. It's just that the tiniest amount goes such a long way with them that I don't want the full size, but the mini seem more practical to me. I also kind of want to get the Sephora favorite set that has like a full size of one of these blushes in it. Because I would love this formula. I've had another shade in this formula before. It was in the shade, I think, Kindness, which was like a neutral peach, but it completely dried out on me, so I had to declutter it. I think I decluttered that in my last collection and declutter video, and I just loved it. I love that color so much, and this formula is just beautiful. So definitely keeping this guy. We have this Patrick Ta blush right here. I know a lot of you are probably eyeing this guy as well. This is in the shade Not Too Much and it's a neutral tone. So oh, the cream lid popped up when I opened this guy. So in here you get a cream and then you get a powder. Now I mostly go after the cream in this duo here, I'm not gonna lie. It's just what I love the most in here. The powder isn't bad, by any means necessary. I just prefer using creams like I mentioned before. I have used the cream and the powder together, and I've also used them separately, and depending on my mood I will use them both. So yeah, so I have used both the cream and the powder. I just like the cream just a little bit more. So yeah, definitely keeping this guy. If you don't want to pay the price tag that comes with this blush, because I mean these are expensive, they're $38, but you do want this particular color, I'm not sure if it's still available or not, but the ColourPop Super Shock Blush in between the sheets is a great dupe for this. Next up we have the Deadly Nightshade Duo Cream Blush Light and Highlight from Melt Here. This was part of their Christmas / Halloween collection last year. It was part of the Nightmare Before Christmas collection, and I love this duo so much. I don't really use the highlight too much, but I love this blush that's in here. The blush that's in here is just absolutely gorgeous, and I'm definitely keeping this guy. Also, the packaging is super cute. Now we have the highlighters. Let's tackle these, because this, I think I might actually do away with 2 of these today. The first one that I'm thinking I'm gonna do away with here is this one from Give. This is the Check My Glow Platinum Cowgirl, and I got this at TJ Maxx a few months ago, and it's not bad. It's actually a really pretty highlight. I just don't know if I need to keep it or not. I don't know if I need to keep it. Let me swatch it real quick. I've been debating on recently if I'm going to keep it or not, because it is pretty. It is really pretty, but it's similar to both of these, and I really like both of these highlights here. So this one here is from Charlotte Tilbury. This one I got in gratis, and this is the Glow Glide Face Architect highlighter in the shade Champagne Glow. And normally I'm not into like champagne tones. They just typically don't look good on me at all. But this one just looks so beautiful on the skin and just has such a beautiful shine. You're not gonna be able to see it. And it is similar to that Give one. And I like the sheen from the Charlotte Tilbury more than the Give, so I am gonna let go of the Give. I'm gonna keep the Charlotte because I do really like this highlight right here. I'm gonna keep this Rare Beauty liquid highlighter a little bit longer. I do really like how pretty this one is. It's just such a beautiful color. Like, well, I'm still iffy on the color, but the formula though is just lovely. And it just has such a beautiful glow. I don't think you're gonna be able to see it at all on camera because again, I'm so pale and the lighting is just atrocious, but it's just so pretty. This one here is from Makeup Geek. This is in Celestial. And again, I know Makeup Geek isn't around anymore, but I actually do reach for this highlighter from time to time. It's a beautiful color, has like a pinky purpley shine to it. It's really pretty and oddly wearable with it being that purple pinky like tone to it and everything. It's really pretty. Really like this one. This guy, however, I am gonna let go of. This is the Smashbox X Becca highlighter, well, the Becca highlighter, and this is in the shade Rose Quartz. And I did get a fair amount of use out of this guy. I've used this quite a few times. I just am not 100% sold on the color. It's very similar to like the Charlotte and the Give, and it has like a really nice shine. It has a bit more pink to it than them. And it does have like a nice shine. It's just that I'm not 100% sold on this color. And I got this when it went on sale during the 21 Days of Beauty. I want to say earlier this year, actually. And it's a beautiful product. It's a beautiful color. It's just that it's just not for me. I'm just not 100% sold on it. There is somebody on Mercari that is selling the pressed powder version of Pearl, which I love. Love that color. I had the liquid version of it, and that's how I know that I love the shade Pearl. I really love the Becca highlighter formula. It's just that I need like a color that just is going to work perfectly for me. And a lot of the colors that are still available and permanent that like Smashbox picked up, because I know some people have said, because I had a conversation with a vendor about this, like Champagne Pop isn't the only color that they got. They got a bunch of other colors as well. It's just that those are online only for whatever reason. You can only get those colors online everywhere, like on Sephora and Ulta. Sad to let this guy go, but this color just isn't for me. Started out with 18, decluttered 6, keeping 12. I'm at least decluttering things. I'm happy that I'm doing that much at least. Okay, so here we have the individual eye products. So we have like eyeshadow primer, I got a loose shadow in here, got some mascaras, brow products, pencil liners, all that fun stuff. This here, I'm probably not going to declutter much from this section here at all. Just being very honest here. This is like a category that I don't usually need that much help with. So I don't really see myself decluttering any of these things today, but maybe 2 things. We'll start out with the eyeshadow primer that I have right now. This is from About Face. Love their eyeshadow primer. This is such a good primer. If you're looking for like a cost-effective alternative to the Urban Decay Primer Potion, this is really close to it. And I thoroughly enjoy and love this primer a lot. So definitely keeping this guy here. Putting the keeps back over on this side. I have this mascara here from Tower 28. I got this guy in gratis, and this guy is almost on its way out. I think I've only ever used it but like twice. You know what? I'm gonna let this one go. Like, it's just so not memorable for me that I'm just gonna let it go. I'm just gonna let it go. This next mascara is from ColourPop. This is the BFF mascara, and this is in the brown color. Love this mascara a lot. Love that one. Definitely keeping it. I bought the blue one at the same time, but I wound up decluttering that one in my last declutter, the one that I did over the summer. But I kept the brown one because, again, love the brown one. Yes, I have had that mascara for a while now, okay? I'm not one of those people that's just like, every 3 months, throw away our mascaras. I'm not 100% that person. This mascara here, I just got this one in gratis. This is the Milk Kush High Roll Mascara. You know what, actually? I'll keep the Tower 28 and I'll declutter the Milk. I'll declutter this one here because I haven't used this one. I can give this to somebody as a Christmas gift. We'll declutter that one and I'll keep the Tower 28. I just have a feeling that Tower 28 one is on its last legs, and I don't really remember it. It hasn't been that memorable, but it's a black mascara. This guy I am going to keep. This is a mini of the Kush mascara from Milk. This is the original mascara from them, and I really like this one. I got this one when it went on sale the same time that I got that One Size Bronzer Trio. Really enjoy this mascara. Love it a lot. Gonna keep it. But if I'm keeping this one, do I really need to keep that Tower? You know what? I am gonna declutter the Tower 28 because I don't need to keep both. I don't need to keep both. And I really do enjoy that Kush mascara. Let's go ahead and go into the quick category of brows. So this guy here is from Anastasia. This is the, what are you called? The volumizing tinted brow gel. And I actually got this through a vendor, and I'm really excited about trying this out. I had the shade Soft Brown here because originally when we were like talking about this and she was like doing like the little training, I was just like, yeah, I've used Brow Wiz for years and I've always have used taupe, but I've been curious about trying out different colors and everything. Been thinking like either doing something that has a bit more like red in it to like really play off like the color of my beard, or possibly even try out Soft Brown. And so we tested out this one when she was like training me on this product here, and we both fell in love with this color on me. So yeah, I'm really excited about trying this guy out. I just got this guy, haven't been able to play with it just yet. I tested it out in the store when we did our little training thing, but I haven't been able to play with it outside of that. Really excited about trying this guy out. Now, speaking of ABH, I do have the Brow Wiz in taupe. I am gonna let this guy go. It's basically done at this point, so I am gonna go ahead and let this guy go today. And I also got that Brow Wiz in gratis, by the way. Same thing goes for this guy. This is from Glossier. This is the Boy Brow Arch in the color Cool Brown, and I actually like this guy. I think it's nice. I am gonna keep it for the time being. Do I see myself ever repurchasing it in the future? No, but it is a nice old product, so I am gonna keep it. Next up, we have the pencil liners that I have in my collection. These two are from Urban Decay. They're the 24/7 Glide On pencils. I have the shade Whiskey, which is a really beautiful brown without it being too dark. And then I also have Deep End, which is a shimmery, tealy, green, blue kind of color. Love both of these. These are always staying in my collection. Love them so, so much. I have one of the NYX Epic Wear liner pencils in the shade Dusty Mauve, which is a dusty mauve. I did have Emerald Cut, but mine had dried out, so I had to declutter it. I think I did that off screen, but I did have to declutter that because I went to go use it and it felt a bit dry, so I was like, let me sharpen it and see if that might help it out a little bit, and it was just like crumbling as I was sharpening it, and so I had to just let it go. But this one is still holding up rather nicely. I haven't had this one for nearly as long as I had Emerald Cut for though, so this one is still holding up nicely, so I am going to keep that guy. Then I have the NYX Vivid Rich Mechanical Liner, and I have the shade Quartz Queen, which is just like a really pale, like creamy nude shade. Got this guy to pop in the waterlines just to brighten things up a bit, and it's really nice. I do like the formula on this guy. Oh, get back in there. I haven't reached for it as often as I thought that I would have, but I'm gonna keep it for the time being though. This next pencil liner, I am gonna declutter this. This is from Bobbi Brown. This is in the color Pitch Black. I got this through my friend Maddie. She's one of my best friends, love her to death, and she works at the Cosmetic Warehouse, which is basically a store that's owned by Estee Lauder, and they sell Estee Lauder brands at a discounted price. And she really enjoys Bobbi Brown, and I've always been curious about trying out her products over the years, and I have yet to use this black pencil liner. I just don't like a black pencil liner on myself. Of all the things that she got me, the only things that didn't cause some sort of reaction to me was the lip balm and the eyeshadow palette. But this is like another cream product, and it does make me a little bit nervous to use it. And since it's also a black, I know that I'm probably not going to use it anyways. So I am going to go ahead and just let this guy go and rehome it to somebody. Next up, I have this KVD Everlasting Lip Liner, and this is in the shade Rosary. And I got this through a vendor, and I actually don't use this on the lips. I actually use this on my eyes, so on my waterlines, and it actually works really great as an eyeliner. So probably not the intended purpose for it, and it might not be 100% eye safe, but it is vegan, and normally vegan liners are usually safe on the eye area. So yeah, well, safe on the eye area. The last item that we have up here, this guy I will always keep. Even if I barely even use this, this is a relic of the past. I will forever keep this. This is from Makeup Geek. This is their loose pigment in the shade Kaleidoscope. I will forever keep this guy, like I just said, because it is a relic of the past. It is beautiful. It has like a silvery teal base with like a pink fuchsia like shift to it. It is so ethereal and just so pretty. I will forever keep this. I will forever keep this. So I decluttered more from this section than I thought that I would. I decluttered 4 items. Started out with 15 things, decluttered 4. So I'd say I did okay there. I did a little bit better than I was expecting to. Okay, so now it is time for the lip products. So lip products have always been like a problem area for me in the past. I'm so happy that I've been able to keep my lip collection this small and everything over the last few years and everything. Like, this is the largest that it's been, I think, maybe, possibly. I could be wrong on that. So I'm so happy that I've been able to keep it this concise. Let me move this guy over here, keep the brands together and whatnot. I guess I will start out with the bullets down here. So I got this little bullet here of the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk lipstick. This was part of the free birthday gift that I got this year through Sephora. They had like a little Charlotte Tilbury set. Came with this guy, the setting spray, and I think a sample of the Magic Cream. I think a little sample sachet of that guy. The original Magic Cream formula isn't my favorite. I prefer the Magic Water Cream. I've gone through 2 of those. Love that stuff. The setting spray was okay. I did like the setting spray. Used it up. It was nice. The Pillow Talk lipstick, it is nice. But I remember why I decluttered it when I had a little baby mini of it a few years ago. It's nice. It just doesn't do enough for me. It just doesn't do enough for me. And it's almost like a Your Lips But Better color on me. Like, if I'm wanting to just go with my own natural lip color, I'll just do that. Just do my own natural lip color that day. So yeah, I am gonna go ahead and let this guy go. This guy I will forever keep though. This is from Sugar Pill. This is the Pretty Poison lipstick in the shade Glint, which is a metallic gold. They don't make these bullet lipsticks anymore. I wish that they would. I wish that they would bring these back because the packaging is just so stinking cute. But alas, they will not. And I'm not going to fight them because they don't know who I am. So, yeah. But I am always going to keep this guy because, for one, it's a relic of the past. And 2, it's oddly flattering on me. So I am going to keep it. I'm also going to keep both of these KVD Studded Kiss lipsticks. These have been long since discontinued. I have the shades Greige, which is, you guessed it, a Greige. Love this guy so much. I actually wore this recently, I think, and it is just beautiful. And then I also have Bow and Arrow, which I actually just recently learned that with the new liquid lip formula that they still have Bow and Arrow in the line. They just changed the name of it, and I believe the new name is called Calatrix, I think is what it's called. And I just recently learned that, so I'm thinking that I'm gonna order that guy to test it out and everything, because if it is the same color, then I'm not gonna be as scared once this guy eventually dies, because I don't think these guys are gonna be dying out anytime soon. They're still very creamy and they still smell okay, so I'm going to continue to keep them and wear them. Next up, I have this Fenty lipstick here. I got this through a vendor, and I got both the case and the lipstick that's inside through him, and it's the Icon lipstick, and the color that he left for me is Grill Master. I have yet to use it. I don't know what it's going to look like on me, but I'm curious about it. So gonna keep this guy for the time being so I can actually test it out and use it. We have this Lunar Beauty lipstick. I love this color and this formula. I want to get more of these. I really enjoy Lunar Beauty as a brand. Everything that I've tried from the brand so far, I have just thoroughly loved and enjoyed. And if you're curious about how this bullet works, all you gotta do is just press the moon here. Press the moon, pop out the bullet, and then twist, and there you go. And the embossing on this is just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And like I said, the formula on this lipstick is just absolutely beautiful. Love this color and this formula so much. Like I said, I definitely want to get more of these in the future. The final of the bullets that I have here, this is from Dior. I got this in gratis. Do not ask me why it looks like this, because I do not know why it looks like this. I believe I got this through a vendor. I want to say I got this through a vendor. I could be wrong on that. This is the matte lipstick in the shade 314, and It's just like a terracotta nude, I guess you could say, is what it's looking like to be. It looks pretty, but I don't know if I'm ever gonna use this or not. Because I mean, it's Dior, it's not cruelty free. I have been thinking about doing like another full face of non-cruelty free products video, but I don't know when I'm gonna get enough products to do that again. And I just don't know, like, I don't know if this is like my kind of color. I just don't think that this is my kind of color. So I think I'm gonna let this guy go and just get this guy to a friend. I thought about keeping it, but it's just like, I'll rehome it and use it as like a gift for somebody. They'll be very confused as to why like it has this cap on there. Like I said, I don't know why it's like this. I don't know why. That's why I'm thinking I got this through a vendor, possibly. That like a vendor left this behind and everything. That's what I'm thinking that this might be. I don't know. I could be wrong. Alrighty, so now we're gonna move into like the liquid lipsticks and the glosses up here. Start out with the Fenty Gloss Bomb Stick. This is in the shade Is It Fussy? And I got this guy in gratis. I actually really like this formula. I'm not mad at this formula at all. It's really pretty, looks really nice on the lips, and I just like it. I like it. I'm gonna keep it for around. It might not last through my next declutter, whenever that might be. I don't know if I'm gonna do like another declutter thing like I did this year and like do a declutter in the summer and then do one in the winter. I don't know if I'll do that, or who knows, I might just declutter this off screen in the future, but for right now I am gonna keep it. I have two Sugar Pill glosses. This one here is from the Oh Honey 2 collection with Trixie Mattel. This one is in the shade Sugar Coat. There is another gloss in the collection. It comes in a duo where you get the gloss and the liquid lipstick. This one came with a palette, and so this is actually a really pretty gloss. Like, it has like a golden base with like a pink reflect to it. It's really pretty. I wish I could swatch it to show it off to you guys, but I know that ain't gonna show up on camera right now. So yeah, when I do that haul video that I mentioned that I was gonna be doing in my previous video, I will show this off then though. Next up I have another gloss from Sugar Pill. This is in shade Bloom. I love this gloss. I have worn this gloss a lot, and I'm not a gloss person, but I love this gloss. It is just so pretty. Then I have two of their liquid lipsticks. I just got these in Val BB like 2 weeks ago maybe, and I'm so happy to have these back in my collection again. We have Antisocialite, which is a oxwood shade, and then we have Zero, which is their black. I love these colors so much, and I love the Sugar Pill liquid lip formula. It is my favorite liquid lip formula. It is beautiful. It is amazing. Forever am going to be in love with this formula, and I'm so happy, again, like I said, to say that I have them back in my collection. Next up I have the NYX Lingerie XXL in the shade Unhooked. Is that what you are? Yes, Unhooked. And I know on the outside it looks like it's gonna be like a typical like brownie nudie kind of color, but this is actually just a straight up like taupey gray. Like, the packaging is so deceiving on this particular color for whatever reason. I do not know why, but I do really like this color. I do really like this color, but the formula is just a little bit weird. So I'm gonna let this one go, because I actually bought and like temporarily had like the black one because Zero was not gonna come in time for like a look that I needed to do for work, and so I bought the black one in this formula, and it just was not it. It just was not it. And I remember this feeling way more comfortable than that one, but I tested it out afterwards and it was like fairly similar in terms of like how it felt, and I was just like, oh, I'm remembering this being a little bit better. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this one go. Then we have these two ABH liquid lipsticks here. I have the shades Dusky Rose and Hudson. I picked these guys up from TJ Maxx some time back, and I love both of these colors. These are probably my two favorite shades within the liquid lips from ABH. They're just absolutely beautiful, I know they kind of sort of look similar or to each other when they're next to each other, but when they're on their lips, they are completely different. Like this one is definitely like a dusty rosy mauve, and this one here is like a warm terracotta nude kind of color. It's really interesting, very unique color, and so yeah, definitely keeping both of these. And lastly, we have the Lunar Beauty liquid lipstick in the shade Sailor. This is a limited edition color, and because I have this one, it also makes me feel a little bit happy to like okay to not keep that lip lingerie from NYX because it's fairly similar to it. It's just not as gray. It's just not as gray. It's a bit more brown. Love this guy. I have worn this multiple times. I remember when the first time that I wore this to work, I got so many compliments on it. Like one of the vendors that comes into my store regularly, she was obsessing over this on me, and she was just like, I want it so badly, but you can't buy it in store. Like she's very much the type of person where she wants to like try it in person or like sample it out and everything, like swatch it and whatnot, and then purchase something. She doesn't want to just like buy it on the whim like I do and everything, because I mean like Lunar Beauty, so indie brand, so like they're only on their website these days. They did run inside a Sephora. Well, I don't know if they ever made it in store, but I know that they were sold at Sephora like online for a period of time. I really want to try out more from this particular line from him as well, so probably gonna get some more colors in the future, but for right now I'm happy just having this color here. I love these kinds of colors, so I knew I had to get it, and I think it might still be available on his site. It might be, I'm not entirely sure, because I know that this color was limited edition. Alright, it is time for the final category, which are my palettes, which as you guys can see, I have a lot of. And I'm gonna be brutally honest here, I don't know how many of these I'm actually gonna end up decluttering. Maybe a few, maybe none. We will have to find out. I'm gonna go ahead and organize this a little bit differently so that way we can work in like sections a little bit, I guess you could say, because we have a lot to get through here. So let's organize things so we can see things a little bit easier. So here's a first little section of palettes that I have here, and we'll go ahead and just get started. So we'll start out with this one up here. This is from Game Beauty, and this is going to be the Fantasy palette, and I got this through Ipsy a few months ago, and I have used this a few times, and it's a really pretty palette, and it's a nice little color story. It's rather light. It doesn't go as deep as you would think that it would go. It's a lot more like pastel, soft kind of color story. It is pretty. I do like it. I am going to keep it for the time being. I don't know if it'll last too much longer in my collection though. I'm just being brutally honest there, because I do have some palettes, and I have some pastels and another palette that I have yet to get around to trying out. So I might end up parting with this guy in the future, but I do really like the packaging. I like the packaging and the color story. It's just that the formula isn't really all that I was expecting it to be. I've heard some good things about the brand, but I also remembered after getting this palette that some people felt as if this was like the weaker of their palettes that came in this particular format. This guy I am 100% keeping. This is the ABH X Jackie Aina palette. I am forever keeping this palette. I love this palette. I haven't reached for it in a while, but I'm just always in love with this palette whenever I use it. So I am forever going to be keeping this palette. Similar goes to this one here. This is from Marc Jacobs. This is the iconic palette in Fantasine. I got this guy when the brand was going out, like I mentioned earlier, kind of like with that Omega bronzer. This guy I am forever going to keep. When it came to the iconic palettes, this was always the one that really called out to me. I like coral tones when it comes to like neutrals, and this is just a beautiful color story. I think I've only used this palette once, if I'm not mistaken, though. I do need to play around with it again, but this is mostly an item for collector's reasons for me, so always going to keep this guy. Next up, I have the Wild Python Obsessions from Huda Beauty. I got this at TJ Maxx a few months ago. I think I got this over the summer, I want to say, or maybe before the summer. I can't remember when, but like I said, found it at TJ Maxx. It's a really pretty color story, and I do like it. I think I'm going to keep it for a little bit longer. I might declutter this soon, but I am going to keep it for the time being because it is a really pretty color story. And I do like the formula on it. And this green. Oh, it's so pretty. I am also going to be keeping, this is from BH Cosmetics. This was the Totally Plastic Pink Sunglasses palette from Iggy Azalea that they did some time back. I had this in my collection before, decluttered it, regretted it, so I repurchased it, and I really like this palette. It's a nice pink palette, and I really enjoyed playing with this palette, especially last year when I went through like my Barbie core moment. Then we have the Alchemist palette from KVD. I am forever going to keep this palette. I still reach for this palette a lot and have used this palette a lot over the years. It is just wonderful. It's just such a great little companion palette. This guy here is probably one of the most chaotic palettes I own. This is the Pride palette from Danessa Myricks this year. This is the Love is Love palette is what it's called. And this is what it looks like on the inside. Like I said, it is very chaotic and just not very appealing or attractive, but it's just so beautiful. It's got multi-chromes in there, some duochromes. It's just a beautiful, beautiful palette, and it just performs and behaves so nicely. I've worn this a few times now and just always have a great time with it. I did get to swatch the new holiday palette that she put out this year, and oh my god, it is insane. It is so gorgeous. I don't see myself purchasing it. It's so expensive, and it's an all shimmer palette, but it is just so gorgeous. So gorgeous. Next up, we have the Rose Quartz palette from Huda Beauty. I really do enjoy this palette. I haven't used it in a while, and I'm going to continue to keep it because it is a beautiful, like, slightly cool tone. Well, I say slightly, it's very cool tone neutrals, and I don't really have that many palettes that have these kinds of tones in them, and for that I'm going to keep it. And I've created some beautiful looks with this palette over the years that I've had it, and so I'm definitely going to continue to keep it because it's just a beautiful formula, beautiful color story. Teeny tiny little Viseart palette. I have gotten more use out of this palette than I expected to get. This is the Fleurette Bisou this is the Fleurette Bisou palette. And it's just a teeny tiny little palette. Teeny tiny little palette. I got this through Ipsy. Ordered it through their web shop, and you get like a little quad with 2 blushes. You can use the blushes on the eyes as well, and it's just a lovely little palette. It's a lovely little palette. Like I said, I've gotten more use out of it than I thought that I would, so really happy with this guy. Definitely keeping it. This palette here, I think I am gonna let go of. This is from Bobbi Brown. I got this through Maddie, and it's nice. It's just that I have only reached for it once, and that was for a video, and I haven't reached for it since. It's nice. The formula is nice. It's okay, but I have formulas I like a bit more and that I know that I'll reach for. So this guy I will let go of. Next up, we have the Sugar Pill Oh Honey 2 palette in collaboration with Trixie Mattel, and this is a fun little palette. I've only used it once. I need to play with it again, just to play around with it a little bit more and test it out in different ways, because the original look that I did with this palette did not go as planned whatsoever. So I want to play with it again and create a look that will go as planned, because I do like the color story in here, and I think that it's lovely. It's a lovely little formula. So I'm definitely going to be keeping this guy for a while because I love Sugar Pill, and I also really love Trixie. Final palette that I have in this section here is going to be a new palette to my collection. This is the Sugar and Grunge palette from Lynn Bunny. This palette has actually been discontinued. They got into some like legal issues with this particular palette for whatever reason, and the legal issues that they got into aren't even their fault. It was like some other brand just like having like a power trip moment and everything. So instead of fighting them, they just decided to discontinue the palette. And right when I got the money to purchase this, because this was like the Blend Body palette that I really wanted to purchase, when I finally had the money to be able to purchase it and everything, because at the moment when they announced that they were discontinuing it, I didn't have any play money, and then when I got the play money, it had sold out. But I saw somebody selling this guy on Mercari, and I decided to pick it up. And this is what it looks like on the inside. See, this is what I was talking about with that Game Beauty palette, where there are some pastels in here as well as in that palette that I could probably get better use out of this particular palette than that one there. I haven't been able to play with this guy yet because right around the time when I got it was also around the time when I started to get sick. Well, actually, no, I've had this guy for a little while now, but I was like really busy with like work and then life, and then work got busy again, and then I got sick. So yeah, I'm hoping that I can play with this guy soon though, like once I fully recover. And I'm very much looking forward to playing with this guy because I've heard a lot of great things about Blend Bunny's formula, and this particular color story just appeals to me so much because I love like the pastel colors and then also like the deeper tones as well. It's just a really cool color story. And if you're unfamiliar with Mercari, by the way, it is a place where people can sell products secondhand, and there are a lot of people on there that sell like makeup secondhand. The person that originally had this one, they're just like, it was just mostly swatched, and they did sanitize it beforehand, did make sure to check with that, and so I'm very happy and excited to have this guy in my collection. Also, this packaging is so pretty. Love the packaging. Where is the we need to heal the dying eyes. Here is the next round of palettes. Got some bigger ones up here, so there's not as many to go through this session. So we'll start out with the two capsule palettes that I have here from Surepill. So this one's going to be the C2 palette, which they launched this one in celebration of when the brand went into Ulta stores for a brief period of time. And this is what it looks like on the inside. I actually used this palette not too long ago, and it still works really nicely. And it's a really fun little color story. I really like the formula on these little capsule palettes. When it comes to the capsule palettes, these are more so like collector's items for me anyways, because they don't make these palettes anymore, and I think that they're slowly phasing them out as well. And then I also have the C3 palette, which this is like their like goth girl spooky palette. Ooh, and this one is a lot of fun. I do like the color story on this one a lot. I think I like this one a bit more than C2. It's just a bit more fun. It's got more depth to it, but I do like the corally tones and then pops that are in the C2. But yeah, like both palettes, definitely keeping them both. Next up we have the Whale Song palette from Menagerie. Love this palette and this color story. It's just a beautiful blue-green color story here, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Like the metallics in here are insane, and I just love this palette a lot. I need to reach for it more. All right, so this big ColourPop palette right here, this is actually a empty magnetic palette that I have my Sugarpill Pro Pans in, actually. So I have 7 Pro Pans. I have Taco, Bulletproof, Poison Plum, which has been discontinued, Love Plus, which has been reformulated, Flame Point, Valoria, and I believe this is either Hypnotic or Helium. It's one of those two colors. Really love my Pro Pans. I don't reach for them very often, and I'm almost tempted to go ahead and just declutter them. But that being said, I did dip into my Love Plus recently, so I might keep them for a bit longer. They're also relics. I want to get like the Pro Pan palettes and get the big one, and then just get some extra pro pans to throw in there as well, and just do that. I have such an intense soft spot for Sugar Pill. It is so hard for me to let things from them go. Next up, we have some palettes from Melt. So this is the Bad Sign Zodiac palette. This is the air one because I am an air sign, so I got this one. This one, from what I've saw, this was like the one that was the most universally liked, and the color story that people love the most, and the formula that people love the most. I think I've still used this palette one time, and I definitely need to play around with it some more. And it's a beautiful palette, created a gorgeous look when I used it, and yeah. Is mostly a collector's item for me at this point, but I still want to at least try to use it. This palette right here, this is the Christmas Town palette. This was part of their Nightmare Before Christmas collection. I did use this palette once. I did have fun with it, although the mattes, like the deeper mattes, they just did not work really well. They just didn't work really well. The other colors did perform really nicely though. You know what? I think I'm gonna let this one go. I think I'm gonna let this guy go, because I don't need to keep it, and I know people that will really love having this palette. Moving on to this final Melt palette that I have. This is the Muerte palette. Got this one, they re-released it a couple of years ago, and I will forever keep this palette. Even if I don't use it very often, I will forever keep this palette because I wanted it so badly and for so long. And so having it in my life just makes me so freaking happy. And the final palette that I have in this section here is the Lorac Pro 4. Yes, the Lorac Pro 4. And I got this guy at TJ Maxx sometime back, and I only have used it once, but that one time that I used it, I had such a great time with this palette. And because of that, I want to keep it, but I haven't reached for it since then. I'll keep it for this time. I'll keep it this time, but your days are numbered, because I'm probably going to part with this guy within the future. So we have one more round of palettes after these, but this is like mostly like the ColourPop section. I think there's only been like 3 palettes here that aren't ColourPop palettes. So yeah, actually 4. Let's go ahead and get started. The fun size palettes here from Sugar Pill, I'm keeping both of these. These are like collector's items mostly for me. This is fun size 1, which is looking like this. They're both like pastel rainbow palettes with like little bits of a twist on both of them. And they're both like companion palettes too. Like they work perfectly together. And I am forever going to keep these because, for one, they're fun little palettes that I do dip into, but also because they are very special little pieces. The little kitty on here is Turkey the Dumpster Kitty, who sadly passed away. He was Sugar Pill's mascot, and he sadly passed away a few years ago, and I just want to keep these just to like keep his memory alive a little bit, even though I have like no sort of connection with him or the brand whatsoever. He brought them so much light and love, and I loved seeing his chunky little baby self on the internet and everything, so I just want to keep a little bit of him with me. So that's why these guys are always going to stick around. Then I got all of these Star Wars palettes here from ColourPop because I am a slut for Star Wars. We'll start out with that one here first. This is the Star Wars palette, and I love this color story so much. I haven't reached for this guy. Actually, no, that is a lie. I did reach for this recently. When I did a look that I did for work, when I dipped into Left Plus, I also dipped into this palette as well. And I just always have a good time whenever I play with this palette. And I'm a slut for Star Wars. I will forever keep my Star Wars palettes from ColourPop. Brings me to this next one here, which I'm still bitter that they never did an R2-D2 palette. I'm hoping that they'll bring out more Star Wars palettes and do an R2-D2 palette, because we have the C-3PO here. There needs to be an R2-D2. There needs to be one. They need to be companions. We need that companion palette system going on. But yeah, it's just like a basic bitch juice palette. It's a neutral gold palette. These Star Wars palettes are mostly for collector's items for me. I don't really dip into them hardly ever, so yeah. Then we have Darth Vader, which looks like this. It's very gray with some pops of red. And this one I think is probably my least favorite because it's just such a boring color story. But we have it though because, like I said, I am a slut for Star Wars. Then we have the Mandalorian palette here. This one, again, not really a favorite of mine. I do like it a bit more than Darth Vader though, because I like that it's just a bit more grungy. And lastly, we have the Child. And this one is just such a cute little color story. It's such a good, like, murky, grungy green color story. And then the last of the ColourPop palettes, actually no, that's a lie. Second to last of the ColourPop palettes that we'll get to today is going to be at Forest Sight, which was done in collaboration with Robbie D. Christie. Really love this palette. Again, this is mostly a collector's item for me. I haven't reached for this guy in a while. I definitely need to do so though. I mean, it's the perfect time of year to dip into this palette. So I should definitely dip into this palette sometime soon. Alrighty, so I'm gonna save this palette for last because this palette, we gotta do things. Like, we gotta be extra with this guy here. So this guy here, I think I actually technically decluttered this palette already, but I just never put it away. I can't remember if I decluttered it off screen or not. But this is a magnetic palette here from Makeup Geek, and it has some Makeup Geek singles in it, and I am gonna let these guys go. I did play with this palette not too long ago, and the shadows just do not perform the way that they did when I first got them. So I am gonna go ahead and just take these guys out and part with this palette and part with these shadows, which makes me so sad because, again, like, part of the reason why I'm holding on to the whatchamacallit, that single shadow, that loose shadow, that's the word I'm looking for, is because it's like a relic of the past. But it's just like these guys just do not perform the way that they did when I initially got this palette. Well, when I initially got these shadows, I should say, because I curated this little palette myself. I'm gonna keep this guy. I'm gonna clean it out, but I'm gonna keep this guy. But the contents though are going away. And then this next palette that I have here is from Odin's Eye. This is the only palette that I have from them, and this was the Hella palette done in collaboration with Angelica Nyqvist. I kept the sleeve because I love the sleeve so much. But this is the actual packaging for the palette. If you've never seen this palette, because it was a limited edition, it's been gone for a while now, but this is the color story for it. It is beautiful. It is such a gorgeous color story, and it's a really nice little formula. I do want to try more from the brand. It's just that they haven't put out anything that has really like screamed at me. So I just haven't gotten around to trying out more. So now let's touch on this final ColourPop palette. This is the Gettin' Fresh. And this guy I picked up at TJ Maxx. And I do really like this color story and the vibe of this palette. I just hate that it's so big. I just hate that it's so big. So what I'm actually going to do, and it's the reason why I'm holding on to this guy, is that I'm going to take out some shadows from this palette and pop them in here and just condense this palette down. We're going to do a build your own palette in this collection video real quick. So I'm going to be like dilly-dallying, kind of sort of on camera, and just taking out some shadows. Got a little magnet tool right here, because if you guys are unfamiliar with ColourPop and their shadows are actually magnetic. So all you gotta do is get like a good magnet tool like this and you're good to go. So I got all the shadows out of the palette that I want to keep, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pop them into this little Makeup Geek palette. So I can only fit, because I already tested this out a few days ago, I can only fit but 15 of these shadows in here. I can't fit 16, which does annoy me a bit, because that means I can't be in like a 4x4. It's like a 3x4 and then a 3. I'm not happy about it, but that's what we can do with this little palette here. I'm just gonna keep the shadows in order of which I pop them out of the palette. So I am gonna take like a photo of the palette and just keep track of the shades that are in here. This is what the palette is looking like now after popping out some of those shadows. And now this is what I have curated from said palette. And I like this so much more because it has the same vibe, but it's more concise. It's more stripped down. It's not as chaotic. Let me pull it up a little bit closer so you can see it a little bit better. So now it's a little bit blown out back here. So yeah, I just feel like it looks so much better now. It just makes a lot of sense and everything. And like, you have a lot of the same kinds of tones and everything, like those true neutrals, those warm tones, the greens, the reds. Like it just works better, more concise and more stripped down than being in such a massive palette. Gonna part with this guy. I mean, yeah, the shadows that are still in here are good. These are still good quality colors. But as you can see, even with taking out all those colors, the colors that are in here also work really good together. Like these 15. Like, let me put these all together with one another. Those are the last 15 that are in here. And honestly, if you take out like these bottom 3 down here, that 12, that set of 12 there is also a really nice little color story. But I am gonna let this go though. So that guy's gonna go into the pile of things going away. These are the last 5 palettes and the last 5 products in my makeup collection. Let's get through these. All of these are staying. None of these are getting decluttered. I love these palettes so much. So we'll start out with the one that isn't Lunar Beauty, and that is gonna be this Beauty Bay palette. This is the Nikki Tutorials X Beauty Bay palette. I love this palette so much. I hate the bifold. I mention that every single time, but I love the color story and the formula of this palette. I have used this palette so many times over the years that I've had this palette. It is just such an amazing palette, such an amazing color story, and I just never get tired of this palette. So forever keeping this palette. Another palette I am forever keeping is this one here from Lunar Beauty. This is the Moonspell Volume 1. I will forever keep this palette. It has been long since discontinued, but this palette brings me so much love and so much happiness that I can never part with this palette. It is just such an amazing palette. This is like one of my go-to going out palettes. I have worn this to so many events. I have worn this to work so many times. It is just such an amazing palette. I low-key wish that he would bring this back, but at the same time though, I know that it has a spiritual successor. We will get to that eventually. We have, I think this is the newest Lunar Beauty palette to my collection. This is the Moon Prism Blush palette, and that is exactly that. It is just a blush palette. So yeah, nothing too exciting here. I got this through Ipsy, and I had always been curious about trying out his blush formula and decided to get this one to go because it was nice and cheap. I do want to try out his other blush palette, and I also really want to try out his highlighter palette as well. The one that came out with the Moonshroom collection. I really want to try out that highlighter palette. My voice is trying to go away. I gotta hurry up and finish filming. Okay. And I also got 25 minutes left on my camera. Really like this blush palette though. I've used it a few times and I have enjoyed it each and every time that I've used it. So I'm gonna continue keeping and loving this palette. Then we have Life's a Drag facelift. So he released the Life's a Drag palette first. That was his first ever launch, and then he remixed it and re-released it under facelift, which is this guy here. And so the original Life's a Drag palette was just some neutrals and then 6 colors and then 2 metallics. But he added in extra metallic and some extra colors and some extra neutrals, and it's just a really nice little palette. I don't reach for this too often, but every time I do, it's always a fun time. And lastly, we have this palette here, and that is Siren Sunset. This is what is supposed to be like a spiritual successor for Moonspell Volume 1 because it has like the purples and the greens. But this one is a very completely different vibe because this has multi-chromes and duochromes in it. This palette is gorgeous. This was my first ever like multi-chrome palette. It is stunning. I have worn this palette so many times before now and it is stunning. It is such a good color story and just such an amazing formula. Like when it comes to eyeshadows, Lunar Beauty is my favorite. I've had 2 of his other palettes, but I've decluttered them both. Those were Strawberry Dream and Moonspell Volume 2. And I decluttered Strawberry Dream just simply because I wasn't reaching for it enough. And then Moonspell Volume 2, it was just a little too repetitive to me. So I parted with that one as well, but I'm keeping these 3 palettes that I have from him. I don't know there's other palettes from him that I want to necessarily get just yet. Like I mentioned, I do really want to get that highlighter palette. I know I want that one for certain, but I don't know if I want to get like the Moon Shroom, or I don't really think I'm ever going to get Nude Prism. That's just like too basic and bland for me. And then I might get Eternal Eclipse. I go back and forth on that one a lot. Oh, and I do know that he's going to be coming out with some new palettes soon, I think, because there's like a teaser going around. So by the time this video goes up, I should probably know what the new launch is going to be. And all I have to say is that I'm excited about it because I do really enjoy his products. So I didn't count how many palettes I had to begin with and whatnot, just simply because I just have so many and I just don't feel the need to count the amount of palettes that I have. But I decluttered 3. Yeah, I decluttered 3. So yeah, well, kinda I decluttered 4, I guess, because I got rid of those singles. Yeah, we did some decluttering here, but not much. I didn't expect to declutter much when it came to my palettes anyways, because palettes are something that are a little bit trickier for me to let go of, but they're also trickier for me to purchase as well because I know that I have so many, and I've gotten so much better with not purchasing so many palettes. I used to have so many palettes, and then when I purged my collection back in 2022, I downsized dramatically. But over 2.5 hours later, kids, we are finally done with this makeup collection and declutter video. This is gonna be a long fucking video, and I deeply apologize for it, but you guys like declutter videos apparently, because my most viewed video on this channel now is my previous declutter video that I did. So yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope that you had a good time. Hope you guys enjoyed this format where you don't get to see my face, but you just see my hands. You get to see that I talk with my hands a lot. Yes, I'm very gay. So, yes. But, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I did declutter a fair amount of stuff. I decluttered a bit more than I was expecting to. Actually, let me go ahead and grab all the things that I decluttered, and I'll pop those up on the screen here so you guys can see those. So I was able to put everything all in front of us and everything. I would say I decluttered a fair amount of stuff. I did pretty good today, so I'm very proud of myself for this. I will go on and show you guys a after clip of how my drawers are looking now that I have things decluttered and organized differently a little bit now. I don't know how things are looking just yet because I'm filming this bit in the future. So, well, in the past? Yes, in the past. So the after clip is coming out sometime in the future. So hopefully things look really nice and are organized, and that when I get gratis possibly next week, that things won't go straight back to hell again. I'm just gonna leave these items here up on the screen here so we can all have a final little goodbye to all of these items that I am saying goodbye to. Some of these are gonna be rehomed, some of these are just gonna go straight into the trash. Some of these are probably even going to end up in a future empties video. Yes, that'll be coming probably sometime next month when I'm going to be filming the empties video, because I'll probably film that at the beginning of the month when I figure out some like what all it is that I know that I am going to be using and everything, like what's almost done, what do I think is going to have enough life to stretch past December, so on and so forth. Let me know how you guys felt about this and everything. Are you sad about me letting go of certain things? Are you happy that I'm letting go of certain things? Let me know in the comments below. I'd like to know your thoughts and opinions on these things. And yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. I gotta go put everything back up in my room and then chill for the rest of the day before I have to go back to work tomorrow. So yeah, but that's gonna be it for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed this long ass video, but until I see you guys in my next video, whenever that might be, goodbye. And a little fun fact, y'all didn't know this, but I was naked the entire time I filmed this.